Genesis time we get God making a covenant with someone. The first time we get it is Genesis 9, where he makes a covenant with Noah and all living things that he will never again destroy the world with a flood. In Genesis 15, after this, the word of the Lord came to Abram in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abram, I am your shield. Um, this man will not be your heir, but a son who is your own flesh and blood will be your heir. He took him outside and said, look up at the sky and count the stars. If indeed you can count them, then he said to him, so shall your offspring be. So basically, this is all God talking about basically what's going to happen with Abram's descendants. And then we have Ishmael as well, who is a descendant of Abram. And then it says in at the end, when the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoke and fire pot with a blazing torch and appeared and passed between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said, to your descendants I give this land from the Wadi of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Rephaites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites. So basically, this is God coming down and saying to Abram, I am going to give your descendants all of this land, blah, blah, blah. It's a covenant, which is a promise, and and they also said that for 400 years your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, that they will be enslaved and mistreated there. But I will punish the nation that they serve as slaves, and afterwards they will come out with great possessions. So essentially, serve as slaves in Egypt for 400 years, and then I give you the promised land, which is weird. But it helps fit the narrative. It almost completely foreshadows the book of Exodus, as you know, the book of Exodus is all about what happens in Egypt, coming out of Egypt, and all of that. It's just such a weird one where I'm just looking at this and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? And I understand that Abram and God made this covenant because it ensures that Abram will become the father of nations, and through him all nations will be blessed. Because eventually, from the line of Adam to Noah to Abram, Jesus will come, and then that's a whole thing. We'll get to the genealogies eventually. It's just, why are you doing this? Why do they have to be slaves in Egypt for 400 years? Why are you taking land from people who already live there? Why is that something that you've decided you need to do? But it's something that they've decided they needed to do, and this gives justification for what is going to happen. It also explains why they were slaves in Egypt for 400 years. So overall, as like a story, it's a really good story, but as like the founding myth of a nation, it's horrific because it basically you're saying I give you permission to destroy all these people, take their land, and the become the ruler of that land, all because you had 400 years of slavery in Egypt, and I decided that I wanted to punish Egypt, and I don't like all these people, and you're my chosen people. It's a whole thing. So as a founding myth of a nation, I don't like it because it means the nation's going to be like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff we can do now. We can destroy things. We can be colonizers, and it's not great, but that's just how it is. As a story, it's perfect. It explains the reason why the nation got there. If this were fiction and not scripture, it would be a wonderful piece of fiction. Great foreshadowing, actually little on the nose foreshadowing, but understandable. It was written several thousand years ago. But other than that, like meh. All right, everybody, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and you can follow me on Patreon for $1 a month. And Mariners recap videos will be published 12 to 14 hours before they'll be published on YouTube on there. You'll also have some access to things that I write, as well as some blog posts. I might use it as a website, and you can book me on Cameo. You can follow me on Instagram, and well as Blue Sky at Sammy5436. Thank you for watching.